Hi there, my name is Susan Grease and welcome to this episode of A Woman's Journal. Remember, this is a podcast where we empower the woman's voice. On today's episode, we got to have an amazing conversation with a lovely lady called Sharon Ireri. As she shared with us her experience as someone with albinism, we got to talk about the misconceptions and assumptions that people make, the stigma she has experienced, and most importantly, how she has allowed that not to define her. In fact, she also opened up on some of the things she's doing to have an impact in the society. My name is Susan Grease. Let's get to it. Kama kawaida, season 2, we are doing things a bit differently. And before we start, we're going to play a little game. But first, I'm going to have my guest introduce herself as we get to hear who she is and what she's all about. Hey, Sharon.
Hi, Suzanne.
Karibu sana to my podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I go by the name Sharon Ireri. 24 years old. Still Gen Z.
Like Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z.
Yeah.
So currently I am a model. I do modeling. I am also a content creator. I create content in regards to spreading awareness on albinism because this is something I have grown with. It's part of me. And also I'm a cybersecurity analyst. So those are, I think I have described myself.
She has 2 degrees. I don't know why you're forgetting that. Girl. Ever tell us of what? The first one?
Yeah, and the second one. So the first one I did was criminology and criminal justice. Then as I was doing that, I felt the need to do something that was similar but yet had like different skills.
Yeah.
Like which was forensic and criminal investigations.
Okay.
So yes, so I did the both of them. It was hard. I'm telling you, I was in school day and night.
Yeah.
Day and night because I had day classes for one and then night classes for the other. But then, funny enough, is I graduated on the same year, different months.
For the 2 degrees?
For the 2 degrees, yeah.
Was that your idea? I mean, it's pressure from...
No, it was my idea because
Okay.
I didn't want to finish one and then another 4 years. I was like, no, I want to finish this by this time and then focus on other things. So I remember my parents were actually not for it. They were really against it. They were like, you're going to get burnt out. I was like, no, I want to do this because I felt that by 25, I wanted to have finished school and gotten some work experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have some goals. But even before we get into the serious stuff, we are going to play a little game called Let's Get Deep. So we're going to shuffle the cards. So you get to ask me 3 questions. I get to ask you 3 questions.
Sawa.
Ikibamba sana tutaulizana 5. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What's an irrational fear you had as a kid?
Being stared at.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I would always try and hide behind other kids or just try and like not get noticed because I realized anytime I just go outside to play, kids, okay, of course my friends were used to me and didn't stare, but like, let's say like there are new kids around who are coming to play, they would stare and that would just make me so anxious. And then sometimes I'd go back home because I'm like, people just staring at me, I don't want that. So even in school, I hardly, spoke up or raised my hand to like ask questions in class, maybe after. But now during class, I just like, everyone's just staring at me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So getting stared at, yeah.
Okay. Your turn. Dun, 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 dun.
Did you ever sneak out of the house when you were a kid?
Can I plead the 5th? I did, but it was in the context of I'm running away from this house. I don't want to stay here. So I snuck out. Then when I'm on the streets, it was like late, not like late in the evening, like 7, 8 p.m. I'm like, okay, so where are you going? Okay, unatoroka uende. Who's going to host you? Like, have you even made the necessary arrangements? So I just humbly came back with my bag. I'm like, hi, yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah, I'm back. But in terms of like, just the normal wild stuff, I think it was just, I'm going to meet a friend. Then not come back until like the next day.
Yeah.
And then sort of explain.
I think we've all done that.
We have, yeah. It's part of it's a rite of passage. What is your most valuable possession?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So my most valuable possession right now is a gold watch that was gifted to me by my late shushu. So I have it with me. I don't really wear it as much because I'm just like, I want to preserve you the way and it actually still has her scent.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
She passed on last year, not so long ago. And she was a big part of my childhood and upbringing. So I felt it holds so much sentiment to me. And she gave it to me actually a few days before she passed on. Yeah. And I did, because she just called me and she was like, I want you to have this watch. And I was like, for me, I was like, it was a gift. I didn't know that. And apparently, okay, this is a story for another day, but she knew. Apparently she could tell that she was going to pass on.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were signs, but we didn't notice it. But afterwards is when we were like, oh my gosh.
She knew.
She knew.
This whole time.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's okay. Thank you.
You ready?
Yes.
Oh, it's your turn.
What was the last creative thing you did?
The most
The last creative
thing I did. Does this podcast count? Like, what creative thing have I done? Oh, okay. I don't know if this would count as creative. So I ran out of micellar water. And I didn't have wipes. And I had tons of makeup. So I'm like, how am I going to take off my makeup without having to use soap or just like water directly? So I tried coconut oil. So I was like, I'm just going to smear it on my face and just wipe off with tissue. And lo and behold, it actually worked. Nobody told me that coconut oil is such a good like makeup remover. Yeah. Creative and
now you've given me something to work with in future.
You'll call me like, girl, it worked. I am. Last one from my end. What famous person would you love to meet and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for me, it's Zendaya.
Who?
Zendaya.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched so many of her shows on Disney growing up, and I've seen how far she's come in terms of, being an actress. She also sings.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
a beautiful voice.
She does. And I was just like, wonderful. Especially, have you watched Euphoria? I don't know if you've watched it.
Is it an animation?
No. It's a series.
No, I have not.
You should go try it.
Yeah.
It's from HBO. Yeah, produced by HBO. It's so good. And I was so amazed. And she's a model as well. So I was just like, wow.
Oh, inspired.
Yeah, I was like, Zendaya.
Okay. What about locally, like in Kenya?
Here in Kenya, personally.
Okay, girl, you can confess.
I don't know. Okay. Honestly, I'm really trying to, now start, consuming local music, local, TV and all that. Because for me, growing up, I never really did. It was always Disney. It was always, Nickelodeon, always all that, like music from outside. Yeah. But as of now, I'm just maybe Nikita Kering.
Nikita Kering.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Nikita, because I love her voice. I love how she has done her music. It's different from what I've been listening to in terms of Kenyan music. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy, urban tune and genge tune and all that. I actually listen to them. But when I listen to Nikita, especially her last few songs, I have actually realized that in Kenya we have so much talent.
Yeah.
Not just Nikita, the other artists that I have listened to, especially on my Spotify from Kenya, and they're so good. It's just that maybe they haven't gotten the audience, or people haven't yet gotten to come across their content or their music. But yeah, Nikita Kering.
Okay. Go girl. The final question.
Describe the best birthday celebration you've had.
Probably last year, because when I turned 30, I feel like it's the one birthday where I got to experience. I'm always caught up in planning surprises for people.
Yeah.
Oh, what can we do for this person? Then when it's yours, it's people just post you and we move on. But last year, I think someone went the extra mile, even taking me to Lamu. I was like, okay.
So cute.
I turned 30 in style. Yeah, that's probably one of the best. More to come, hopefully.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside trips.
Thank you, girl. Amen to that. My passport is ready. Yeah, we'll do a bonus one when we come to the end of this show. But I thank you for giving me like a snippet of, because that was going to be my kicker question, of how your childhood was, growing up as a person with albinism and the kids staring. Did it ever alter with your self-esteem?
So growing up, first of all, I'm the only child in the family, or the only person in my family who has albinism, both my mom's side and my dad's side of the family. So that already was like, oh, okay, I'm different, right? And so now coming to kids would always ask, how comes you don't look like your parents or your sibling, or why you white and your parents are black? And so that question got to me. And the time I remember, my mom was cooking and I went to her and I was like, Mommy, am I adopted?
Oh, no.
I know. That was the first question, because someone asked me in school, are you adopted? And I was like, no, why? And then I was like, you don't look like your parents. So I was like, it was a question. So I asked, you know how kids are? Kids curious. Are very curious, and they're not scared to ask questions. So I asked my mom and she was like, where did you get that from? And I was like, my friend in school asked. And she was like, no, you're not adopted. Then, you know, of course, her trying to explain albinism in a simple way for me to understand since I was a kid. So trying to understand that, okay, it's something that's passed on, because she couldn't explain to me it's a genetic condition. Imagine I'm 7 or 6 trying to understand what genetic condition is.
It's too much.
It's too much. Yeah. And so, and then outside, kids would stare, of course, especially people who've not seen me before. Because, of course, my friends got used to it and, you know. But now, let's say I've gone out and there are new kids, they would stare a lot. Also in school, for example, now when we go for games and sports where we're mixed, we're not just our class, it's now like the whole school has gone for sports. You'd notice that kids would stare or come and ask questions or want to touch my hair, my skin. And so it got to a point I got really, I became really shy, and I wanted to be alone sometimes because I was just like, going to play with other kids would just draw so much attention to myself. And so I was just like, no. It got to me, yes, my self-esteem really went low at some point. But then the good thing is at home I got so much support from my parents, from my, you know, friends, neighbors. Everyone treated me normal. No one treated me like I was, you know, different. Even in school, the teachers were okay. Then no one ever showed me any discrimination. It's just that the stares and the questions got to me a lot. So most of the times I'd like hiding behind other kids, but then that wouldn't do any good because everyone will still notice, because I mean, there's someone who's looking white in the midst of other kids, you know, so of course it'd be like noticing me. So I would always also, since I was always the kid who would get stared at a lot and people knew, the whole school, like, you know, they just knew Sharon Ireri. Because, and so I always made sure I was in my best behavior. I made sure I didn't have any disciplinary issues. I made sure I did well in my studies, because I was just like, I want them to know me for good things.
For good things,
Yeah, not just my skin and me having albinism.
And you remember when I reached out to you and I asked if you'd be comfortable to do this interview, I was like, I mean, help us create awareness around albinism. And then we'd also want to highlight the things that you have achieved, that you've done, so that we're not just focusing on there's more to a person than who they are or the disability they have. And I'm so keen on showing people that, and I was telling you this earlier, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. Like if you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a pilot, you can do those things. I don't want someone who's probably maybe still very young and they feel like they're different and maybe the world will not accept them. I want them to know that you can still be that engineer. You know, and I love what you're doing with your social media platforms where you are educating us, because even me, I learned a lot from your profile. And one of the things you highlighted is that there are 2 types of albinism. Do tell.
Yes. So there are 2 types of albinism. There is oculocutaneous albinism and there's ocular albinism. So for myself, I have oculocutaneous albinism, which affects the skin, hair, and eyes. So basically, I have no melanin. And this results to me having white, or rather, how do you call it, palish skin, but I don't think I have pale skin.
Girl, you don't.
But yeah, that's how they describe it. And then also my eyes, it affects my eyes. If you've seen in my videos, the color of my eyes is not black or brown. It's maybe you see greenish, grayish, bluish. And also my hair now is blonde, but then I dye my hair here and there. But so it affects the hair, skin, and eyes. And this is why, so for the skin, having lack of melanin, this leads to, you know, our skin being prone to getting sunburns. So you find that since people with melanin have that protective barrier, right? So the melanin helps them to protect the skin from the harsh UV rays. Though people who have melanin should also like take care of the skin and protect it from the sun, and also put on sunscreen just like everyone else should. And so that is basically how I would describe oculocutaneous. Just affects the skin, the hair, and the eyes. And then we have ocular albinism, which is it's rare, right? But it affects the eyes. So you notice someone is, let's say, dark in complexion, but then they have blue eyes. Yeah, they're natural eyes, not contacts. They have just blue eyes or green eyes. It just affects the eyes specifically. But that's a type of albinism.
Oh.
Yeah. It is.
I feel like I have seen that, but I didn't think much of it. I'm like, oh, maybe something genetic happened and there's probably someone in the family with those eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just albinism. But that one, I feel like not many people consider it albinism. Because most people, if you ask them, how does a person with albinism look like?
It's the skin color.
They'll just describe. Yeah, they'll describe me.
Yeah. And by the way, I love your hair. This is like your hair, right?
My hair. Yeah.
Zinafanana kiplani.
Remember, no. We're getting there.
We're getting there. But I love your hair. It's very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
I want us to talk about the myths and misconceptions. Because, again, some people say some ignorant things. From a place of we don't know. Or also the way we were raised. Maybe the things that were planted in our brains. What are some of the misconceptions around people with albinism?
Oh my gosh. So let me start with the most recent one that I just had in December. So apparently there's this myth that says people with albinism don't die. They just disappear. Apparently this is a comment I saw, multiple comments saying this, I've never seen or never heard of a burial of a person who has albinism. You guys die and we just disappear. Remember that comment? And now under that comment, so many people came under it and were like, yeah, we've never heard of, like, do you guys, Connie, where do you guys go? You just disappear. And in my head I was like, huh? What do you mean? Like, we're just human beings and we pass on just like everyone else. And actually, apparently, this is a thing that people believe, especially in those rural areas, or rather, those areas where people those places or people who don't have information about this. So you might find that maybe, in my head, I'm like, the reason as to why you've never heard of this is because maybe you do not know anyone with the condition who's passed on, right? And you can't say you've never had of a burial of a person with albinism, right? So in my head, I was like, oh, wow, this is new. I didn't know this was actually like a myth people believed. And then there's also another one where apparently people believe that we can only go out at night.
Oh, because of the sun.
Of the sun. So in my head, I was like, are we vampires? You know how we watch, maybe, have you watched the originals? Yeah, or Vampire Diaries, how they had to come out at night unless they had that daylight ring. Yeah. And so in my head, I'm like, no, we can go out during the day. It's just that we can't really expose our skin to the sun as much. Yes, I can go to the sun, right? But also I have to make sure I have my sunscreen on.
And it's a special kind of sunscreen?
Not really special. It just has to be 50 plus.
Okay.
Yeah, SPF 50 plus. Yeah, on the higher side. But you can use any, whichever works for your skin, which is okay. So I remember listening to them, I was like, oh my gosh, guys. And then the people under the comments are like, yeah, they're vampires. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I know, crazy. And then there's this other one that I heard that apparently people believe that, this one has been there for the longest, where people believe that the body parts or hair of people with albinism can be used for ritualistic purposes, where it can be used for rituals to get money and power. So people believe that apparently, you can use the skin or body parts or the hair for those rituals so that they can get money or power, whatever else they believe they can get from it. And that's why there are so many cases I think right now they have reduced. But if you go through and just like look at the statistics and all that, you find that places, for example, in Tanzania, where people were abducted, right? People with albinism just get abducted and trafficked.
Let's call it what it is.
Yes. And that's why sometimes in my comment section, if you go through it, you'll see people saying, when nikikupata nitakupeleka road trip Tanzania, right? And then you already know what they're thinking.
Yes.
Because you're like, guys, this is so, this is, I'm just
like people say that.
People say that. People do.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they're just like, and another person who was like, wewe, yani kila siku tunakuja pa kuangalia pesa to every day. And I was just like, what? Oh my gosh.
You guys have no chills.
I know people on the internet have no chills. And so I'm just like, people still believe this, you know. In my head, I'm like, that is just a myth. You know, there's nothing, like that is not true. Like, you know, using our body parts or skin or hair for those rituals is just something that I feel like by now, that's just witchcraft, honestly. And also I feel like by now we shouldn't be thinking of such things because in my mind, I'm like, I remember growing up, there are times I would walk and you just hear someone calling me pesa. You know, just calling me pesa. Where pesa wewe? Ama mali when kikuza nitapata pesa. I was like, and I'm a kid, right? So So first of all, when I was young, my parents never let me go beyond the main gate to the estate. So they always, when I'm going outside, either I go with like our help, our auntie, or I'd go with maybe a friend or with them. Because at that time, that was when the cases were high. I remember on the news, it was actually like a thing that was being, you know, showcasted on the news. And so I remember there are times maybe I'd go to the shop with my auntie or just, you know, a friend, and I just hear someone randomly call me Pesa. And then, of course, in my mind, I was just like, those are the kind of things that actually made my self-esteem even go lower at that time since I was a child. Because I would wonder why someone would just run, a man, a grown-up man, would just come to where we are and just call me Pesa. I remember this particular time, a man approached my auntie and was like, si tuorganize huyu tunaweza muuza tupate pesa. Can you imagine? And I remember
you as a commodity.
Yeah, just seeing me as a commodity, right? And then my auntie panicked, right? And she just held my hand and was like, let's go back home. Tuende nyumbani, just go back home. And so I'm trying to understand that, I'm trying to actually figure out right now at this point in time that there are so many people who have albinism, who've gotten such comments growing up, or maybe have had certain things like this from neighbors or the people around them. And this actually contributes to low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Another myth that I've had is that people with albinism, albinism is contagious. Some people believe that, you know, touching or being around a person with the condition, you'd get it. And I'm like, what? No, that is not true. Yeah, there's so many myths out there. Another one is that apparently people believe that we can't see, right? So because if you have a friend or someone around you who has a condition, you'll notice that they strain a lot, especially maybe when trying to read something or just being outside in the sun. Maybe they don't have the glasses on. You notice that they strain a lot. And also you notice that, for example, if you notice when I'm using my phone, there are times it's close to me,
very close,
right? It's because the writing is something I'm used to doing, you know, just like bringing it close to my eyes. And so that makes people believe that maybe we can't see very well, which is not true. If your eyes are properly taken care of, you go to the optician, get your eyes checked, get your glasses, your eyes, you see normally, just that you need them just to see small text, you'll need them for the light. But apart from that, we can see very well. Yeah. And also you'll notice there's nystagmus. Nystagmus is that, that condition where the eyes move rapidly.
Oh,
yeah.
What is it called?
Nystagmus.
I thought you said stigma.
No, nystagmus. Yeah. So it's where you see the eyes shaking rapidly. Yeah. So that's also a condition that comes with having albinism. Yeah. Which actually you can't even feel if they're moving or not.
Oh, so you can't feel it?
I can't feel it.
I can notice.
You notice.
But you can't feel it.
I can't feel it. And I can't tell if they're moving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes I see it in maybe a video, and I take a video, I'm like, oh. And when someone tells me, and I'm like, I can't feel it. Yeah. Oh. And so, I think now people associate those, those features and, straining and trying to like read as blindness or not seeing properly. And I remember there's this myth. I remember growing up, I had it and I was just shocked. So people believe that if you have HIV and AIDS and you sleep with a person who has albinism, you automatically get cured.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah. Can you imagine? People actually believe that if you have HIV and AIDS and you meet someone who has albinism and you sleep with them,
it's gone.
It's gone.
But maybe those are the same people who believe in the ritual thing.
And so there are also cases of rape, Yeah. Yeah, cases of rape, young kids with the condition being raped by people who are infected by, HIV and AIDS, because they think that once they do that, they'll get cured, and that is false.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel safe as a girl? Okay, first, as a lady, generally we struggle with feeling 100% safe.
Yeah.
But do you feel safe in terms of most people look at you with that eye of inibida? What? Do you feel safe as a girl?
Yes,
Especially as a girl with albinism.
Yes, I do feel safe because this is something that these things don't get to me anymore. They used to when I was younger, but right now they do not. I walk with my head held high outside. I have so many friends. I have, people around me who support me, people who love me genuinely. And I think what gets to me now is when, of course, like I don't really think about it in terms of albinism, but just as a woman, of course, how of late there've been so many, rape cases, so many women being killed, femicide and all that. That's what I'm really like scared of. But in terms of my albinism, not really. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So tell me, what are the things not to say to somebody with albinism? Things that might come off as insensitive. There are things people might say as a joke.
Yeah.
But maybe we're actually hurting like your feelings. What are the things not to say to somebody with albinism?
So first of all, I don't know if you've interacted with people with albinism. Most of them are very defensive.
Actually, you're my first.
I'm your first.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you notice, if you meet others, the few I have met is that I notice most of them are always on defense mode. It's like they're ready to fight, right?
Yes. Always been attacked.
Yes, always being attacked. So you find that someone might say something like albino, and they get so mad, right? And they're just like, they want to fight or they want to say something, and then maybe it ends up with, insults and all that. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, this is, people actually say this in a space of ignorance. People don't understand that you don't go around calling people by their condition or disability. It's like you can't go around calling someone
blind.
Thank you. You can't do that. Yeah. You can't go around calling someone,
Wewe
exactly.
What is deaf in Swahili? Kiziwi.
Kiziwi, yeah, you can't do that. That's wrong. And so in my mind, I'm like, when I tell people, you shouldn't refer to me as albino. Call me by my name. If you don't know my name, just excuse. Yeah, just excuse is fine. Like, I'd rather that than you call me albino. And then people are like, why are you so defensive? I'm like, I'm not being defensive. I'm just telling you, I don't feel like you should be doing that. It's not right.
Yeah.
And then now they make it look like you're the one who's being all, defensive and you want to fight and like you're not, you. And they say this, but you are an albino, And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah. So people like that, I'm just like, okay, you can't really say much to them because it will end up with pointless arguments.
Yeah.
And there are times when I have been asked why we make it our whole personality, right? So you find someone asking a question like, how comes you people with albinism make it your whole personality, where that's the only thing you guys, talk about, you make yourself look like victims. And I'm like, I'm living with this condition, right? This is part of who I am. Yeah. And of course you'd expect me to talk about it because there are challenges I go through and I have to, be vocal. Like, for example, you find that, let's say I've gone out with friends, maybe we've gone to coast, right? And it's so hot and they want to go to the beach. And I'm like, if I was just like to just sit, I'm like, no, you guys, I can't, let's just go, right? And I'm just to fit in or just to be there in the moment. I'd end up having sunburns because it's too hot. But now, me personally, I would be like, no, I can't go. Not now, I'll go in the evening because it's too hot and my skin cannot really like handle all that heat. And they'd understand them. They're like, okay, cool, we can go later on. They'd accommodate you. But then some people, you tell them and you're like, you guys are just always, looking for ways to be the victim. You guys are always looking for excuses. You want to be pitied and all that. And I'm like, no, I'm just expressing and telling you that I can't do this and I can do this because I'm taking care of myself. Yeah.
Okay. So basically be understanding. And don't call me by my quote-unquote disability. Call me by my name.
Yes.
Or say, excuse me. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about dating. Ooh. Do you have men who pursue you, not because they like you, but they're like, oh, the thrill of I'll be dating someone with albinism. Do you experience that?
I have experienced this in terms of guys approaching me with that mentality. But the thing is, most of them you can just tell just by the way they approach you. They're like, "Hi, you're so pretty. Sijai kwa na Albino. I've never dated a person with albino." I can really tell they just want to try, right? They just want to have that experience. And in my mind, I'm like, is that all you see in me? Is this the albinism what you see? And so I have gotten such such times where guys would come to me and just, want to pursue me because of the condition, maybe because they are amazed or want to like experience it and know how it feels to be with someone with the condition. And if you go to my, can I talk about things that are PG-18?
Go for it, girl.
So
we'll know what to air and what to cut out.
So there are times on my comment section, someone would come and be like, "Hey, you guys, you should have like supposed to have sexual
like
intercourse with someone with albinism. It's out of this world." And people in the comment section are like, "Miss Jayonja," and then you find that like in my comment section, guys come and they're like, "Miss Jayonja Malbino, Miss Jayonja Malbino, can you be my first?" And I'm like, guys, what?
It really happens.
It happens. You can when
unashamed,
just like they just comment. And they're just like, they're so, they're very confident in doing so. And so in my mind, I'm like, wow, in 2025, we're still here. Like,
so
but currently I'm in a relationship. Yeah. And personally, the guy I'm dating is someone who, by the time when he got to know me, actually he was one who was also actually teaching me more things about my condition that I did not know of. Yeah. And he said that growing up, his dad had a friend with a condition who was a musician. And so he got to learn what the condition was and, just know the things that are required, have sunscreen, all those things. And so when I met someone who was actually educated and actually knew, the things not to say, the things to say, just understanding the condition, it felt nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then that beats the question I was going to ask, because I was going to ask, so how do you discern between a guy who means well and a guy who's just here for the thrill?
Yeah.
Niko mutu uko sawa.
Niko na modo.
What are you hoping to achieve? I mean, I know you are taking time to create awareness around it, but what more do you want to achieve? What more do you want people to learn? Rather, this is me indirectly asking, like a legacy that you want to leave behind. What do you want people to remember you for?
Okay. So personally, since I have a TikTok page where I talk about the condition mostly and just try and spread awareness, I was aiming to, reach as many people as I can, especially mothers with kids who have albinism, parents rather with kids who have albinism, people with albinism themselves, and other people as well. Just educate them and, spread awareness on the condition so they know that there's nothing wrong with having the condition. It's a genetic condition which can, be passed to anyone as long as you carry the gene, right? If both parents carry the gene, then there's a possibility that one or more of the children will have the condition. And that just to know that it is genetic and it's not just passed, by just touching someone or being around someone. And it's not a result of a curse or anything that people may believe. And also wanting to, especially mothers with kids who have albinism, because recently there are 3 women who've reached out to me who say they have kids with albinism and asking how they can ensure that they're properly taken care of, what sunscreen they can use, which optician I could recommend, just asking questions, wanting to know. And I'm very happy when that happens because I'm like, oh my gosh, this child, I want this, even if I don't know this child, I want this child to grow up knowing that they're loved and accepted and knowing that there's nothing wrong with having the condition. And so every day I just try my best to create content that would impact, the masses out there. And later on, I'd start a podcast where I'll be talking about... and you'll be my guest.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah, so basically talking about albinism and other disabilities, not just albinism itself, other disabilities as well. And also just basically trying to reach as many people as possible. Also, I was thinking about starting a foundation with a couple of my friends where we just go around spreading awareness in communities, especially rural communities. Because I realized that people in the rural areas don't really understand the condition. And that's why you find they hide their children. There's some places where you hear that they hide their children from from other people, so they don't get noticed because they still believe in all those rituals. It's a curse, all those things. And so even the kids don't go to school; they're hidden in the house all the time. So you find that there's so much that needs to be, there's so much awareness that needs to get out there. So we're thinking of starting a foundation that would, would go around spreading the awareness and just getting to, those kids or those people out there who have the condition and don't have the proper, sunscreen and protective clothing, and also to help them go to the optician to get their eyes checked and get glasses. Yeah.
Girl, I love that. Like, go you. All right?
Yes. Thank you.
Have you ever experienced stigma? Maybe, especially in the workspace. Have you experienced stigma?
No. I haven't experienced stigma.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
But out here?
Because I've gone to where I've worked when I joined the company. Everyone was good. Everyone was friendly. No one treated me different. I can say that I haven't really had, a bad work experience in any of the places I've worked due to me having albinism. They have accommodated my needs. Whenever I say maybe I need this text printed in large font, or maybe I can't sit on this desk because it's too close to the window and the sun would get to me, they would understand and they would accommodate my needs. Yeah.
Okay. When you look at your future, do you plan on having kids?
Oh yes, I do plan on having kids.
Do you ever think about whether maybe your child will also come out with albinism, or you just never think about it? You're like, okay, whatever happens.
Well, I think about it and I'm like, I would really like for one or all to have the condition. Like, for me, I'm okay. I'm just like, whichever way they come, it's fine with me. But also I'm just like, it'd be nice to have one with the condition. Because if you notice, let's say I have kids with someone who doesn't have, is not a carrier of the gene. And I'm like, let's say, and I may be having albinism, but I don't carry the gene. So you might find, that's why you find that some couples, maybe one has albinism, the other one doesn't. The kids are just, they don't have albinism. And so in my mind, I'm like, I would really like to get one with the condition, just to like, at least just have like a mini me. Yeah, but yes, I do want to have kids in the future.
Oh, that's sweet. What is something you've learned from your journey and just someone with albinism? I like that you've talked about how there are two parents who reached out to you. What would you want that parent to know? Maybe a parent who just got a child and they realize the child has albinism. What is it that you've learned about your experience that you'd want them to know?
So for myself, having been brought up in like a community where, I was the only person with the condition, right? And also I was taken to normal schools. I didn't go to any special school. And so in my mind, I'm like, I don't want these parents to take their kids to special schools. They can just be in normal schools and learn just like any other child. Of course, maybe accommodate their needs, maybe sit at the front of the class so they're able to, see the whiteboard or the blackboard. Just to see properly, right? And maybe accommodate where the teachers can be printing large text for them in terms of like notes or things like that. And they can actually just go to normal schools. They can go outside just like any other child. They can play with other children, just ensuring that they are protected from the sun by, number one, of course, sunscreen. Sunscreen is very important. Like they should be there daily. Anytime the kid is, going outside, ensure they have sunscreen. Reapply sunscreen after 3 to 4 hours of them being outside. Reapply the sunscreen. Ensure they have protective clothing, long sleeves, hats if possible. And just ensure that they grow up knowing that they are normal people. And also ensuring boost their confidence by letting them, participate in clubs, sports, just do what they love. Just because they have the condition does not limit their strengths and does not limit their ability to do these things. So for me, I'm just like, they should teach their children to be confident, teach their children that they're normal, and just to ensure that they're, the places they go to school or where they are, they're included in everything. Yeah.
Love that. Do you have like a particular hair routine?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, not even in terms of like, being with albinism, but I just love your hair.
Thank you.
just trying to see if I can try with.
So for me, trust me, I'm going to plait this hair as soon as tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it gets exhausting.
Yeah, it gets exhausting. So mostly I just wash at first. First I do I detangle my hair. But now I use flaxseed. I don't know if you've heard of flaxseed. It's just
Every day we learn. Mm-hmm.
It's just like a seed. It just steps. You just buy it in any supermarket or wherever. Mm-hmm. Then you boil it, and then it leaves like a gel-like. What's it called?
Like
a solution. It becomes gel-like. So you apply it on your hair. Mm-hmm. It defines your curls and makes your hair really smooth. You just comb out the tangles, and then after that, I just go in with my shampoo. I wash my hair. After I'm done, I put like a cream. I put sometimes I deep condition my hair, or I could just like put a treatment. But for treatment, I do maybe once a week, or if my hair is open, that is once a week or twice. Or once in 2 weeks. And so that I do that, and then I go in with, of course, make sure your hair is always moisturized, always have, good oils. So for me, I buy my oils from a specific girl because she makes them with like different herbs, different different plants and all that, and that has really helped my hair become healthy and bulky. And so apart from that, so I normally go with the lock method. I don't know if you know the lock, like LOC or LCO method. So it's you put liquid. Liquid is water. So liquid is just like water to ensure your hair is hydrated. And then you go in with a cream. So a cream could be like a curling cream or, leave-in conditioner. And then after that, you go in with oil to seal the moisture. Doing that every day, especially when you have open hair, or also like when your hair is in a protective style, it leave your hair healthy and your hair will love you. Yeah.
Namulizia Omar, unajua Omari hizi dreadlocks zake tunaweza zifanyia routine.
Zifanyia hair routine. Hair care.
I realized I asked you to give a word of advice to moms, but I didn't ask for a word of advice for somebody with albinism who's struggling with their confidence, their self-esteem, feeling like they don't belong. What would you tell that person?
Personally, being a person who's come out of that space where I had low self-esteem is just knowing your self-worth, knowing that as a person with albinism, it's just melanin. You just lack melanin. Like that's the only thing that you don't have. And that being that does not make you any different from anyone else. Yeah. For example, I myself, I went to school, I finished school, I did 2 degrees, I finished those degrees, I've worked, and my albinism never affected any of those things. Yeah. And so in my mind, I'm like, when I see someone with albinism who's, going through low self-esteem, they don't love themselves, they just want to, hide and not be seen. In my mind, it comes to how they were brought up. Right? And so in my mind, I'm like, for those who get kids in the future, or rather those people who have albinism, they should learn that, self-worth is very important. How you view yourself is what should matter, not what other people think of you. And yeah, that's true.
You were saying and? I was just like, come on, girl. Yeah. You were saying something, then I cut you short.
It's okay. Yeah. And so, so I believe that being around people who appreciate you and love you is very important. You cannot build yourself with people around you who just, keep maybe hating on you, just like saying really rude comments or just talking bad about you, or maybe making you feel insecure about who you are and expect to, be confident. Because I noticed that sometimes you may have friends, yes, and they may really say things thinking they're a joke, right? But sometimes they're not really jokes. And so in my mind, I'm like, maybe these people are surrounded by such people, and it's really hard to and you find that since they want to be with people, they end up just being in that space and just accommodating even those people who could be maybe not their friends, but just having people around them, just wanting to have friends or, a community with them. They end up just having, should I call them fake friends?
It is what it is. Fake friends.
Fake friends and people who want to take advantage of them. People who want to be your friends because, they see you as...
Get attention. So they want to ride on that.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this.
I think we were talking about it earlier.
Where where someone actually, a friend of mine from, I don't think, we're not really friends anymore. But from campus, she used to love working with me. And I thought she was just she loved my company and things. Then one day she said, I like working with you because you get attention. Anytime I work with you, people stare at us. I feel like we're celeb. I was like, what?
Girl.
So you work with me so you can get attention. And I was just like, oh. So I wonder who else thinks this and maybe hasn't voiced it.
Said it out loud.
Yeah. And so in my mind, I'm like, yes, the people who will try to take advantage of you, people who will try just be your friend just because you have the condition, people who would want to, some men or, even women would want to, be with you or sleep with you or just have a relation with you just to go and tell people I have done this with this person. And so just loving yourself, being close to God and just praying to God to give you the confidence for God to give you that high self-esteem for his protection and things like that. And, just daily affirmations, just affirm yourself every day when you wake up, tell yourself you're beautiful, you're loved, there's nothing different. And as you keep doing those things, you notice that you won't really get affected by the comments people, put out there. And also you won't feel as if you are different from anyone else.
Yeah. And speaking of fake, have you had instances where someone has called you for a fake job or they want to work with you not because of your skill, but because, I want to work with somebody with albinism. Have you had that experience?
So recently, last year, there's this man that reached out to me. Since I model, and I think he saw that I do, he reached out to me, and not really him. First, it was, I can't remember the exact page, but it looked like it was like an organization. That's how it looked. They reached out to me and they were like, they've seen that I model, they think I'm really pretty, and they would like me to, appear as a vixen in one of the artist's songs. So of course I was like, I wanted to see the content of the video to know what type of vixen they want me to be. Because of course I can't just go around, shaking my my on television. Because what if my parents see, and even for myself, I don't see myself doing such things. And so I wanted to see the kind of work the artist does. And they were being very, very fishy. They didn't want to show me the videos. They kept on saying, we'll ask the artist if it's okay. And I'm like, what do you mean? See, it's music. So I want to see the music video. Is it on YouTube? Can I find it? Can you send me a link? Can I just have a look at it? Then they mentioned, it's okay. The producer will reach out to you. And so I waited, and then the same organization reached out to me, and they said apparently the artist was coming to Kenya in like a few weeks' time. They were coming to Kenya, and I was like, okay, cool. And I asked again, could you please show me the work so I can have something in my mind to know what type of who I'm working with, and also to know the type of music the artist does, and just have a feel of their work. And they just kept on, it's like they're just being very fishy and very dodgy. And then later on, they were like, first of all, that organization, the one who texted me, I don't know, I can't remember the name. He said that apparently the artist loves working with people like me, right?
People like me.
People like me,
people
yeah.
With albinism.
Yeah, people with albinism. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so after that, I remember... what happened next? They had asked me for my number earlier in the beginning of the chat, my number and email, because they had said the producer will reach out, right? So a text comes in from a guy, but now I can't really see the guy's name. It's now the name of the artist. I don't know if it's the name of the artist. I can't remember, but it was written code prime, something like that. So I didn't know what that meant. And so he started texting. And he asked me, he was like, he wanted to know how the modeling industry in Kenya is, since he was coming to Kenya for the first time. He wanted to know how to go about the whole process. And I just asked him, can I please see your music? Right? He was still dodgy. And then after that, now he was like, can I see, he started asking me personal questions, where I live. I'm like, why is that important? Yeah. And so I decided I won't answer those questions. And so I asked him, kindly, if you won't share your work or just let me know how or what we are doing, please don't text me. Like, this is feeling a bit inappropriate. And so he started by, I need all your pictures and videos.
But they reached out to you on Instagram.
Exactly. And so I was just like, nah. And so when I blocked him, I deleted the chats and blocked him. I went to Instagram to go block the other account, the one that had reached out to me. Apparently, I couldn't find the account.
Girl.
Yeah. And I was just like, what fishy business is this?
The flag kept getting red.
So in my mind, I'm like, can you imagine if I was naive?
And you're like, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I go, okay, where are we meeting? Because he had said we'd meet for coffee or something. So imagine if I just took myself there, and maybe this is a person who's trying to, do his weird things, or just maybe abduct me, or next, you never know who you're meeting.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, wow, okay. You really have to be careful.
Yeah.
You really have to really do your background check. Thick skin. And also when such opportunities come to you, I feel like it's very important to do a background check.
Yes.
Check the company, who owns the company, where it's located. Never agree to meet someone outside. let's say a company or someone says he's reaching out to you from this company, always meet with this person in the company where the company is located. Outside meetings, sometimes I'm just like, you can't really trust this person.
Yeah.
And so, that's one of the recent experiences I've had. Yeah.
This has been amazing and a very enlightening conversation. And I'm thinking of someone out there who has albinism, and they probably would want to get in touch with you, maybe as a way to build their confidence, to see what you guys can do together to create more awareness. How can people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me on Instagram, Sharon Ireri on Instagram, and on TikTok they can get to me as Shay Ireri. And the thing is, when they come to me with their personal stories, I always first, ask about how is the condition and environment they live in, because you find that maybe sometimes you might find even it's a child maybe coming to you. TikTok is open to all ages, right? And there might be a child telling you, this is happening to me, or I live with the condition and I don't feel like I'm safe in this place and things like that. So there are actually some organizations that help people with albinism. For example, there is it's called PWA, People with Albinism. There's a WhatsApp group where they add people with the condition or parents with children who have the condition. And there's also Albinism Society of Kenya, which is an organization that helps people with albinism by ensuring that, donating sunscreen, donating hats and long sleeve shirts and clothing, protective clothing. And also they also help in spreading awareness. And also there are other organizations which I can mention in, I think, one of my videos that's supposed to come out soon, where I talk about organizations. And also I have a PDF of, all the hospitals around the country where people can get sunscreen from.
Right.
Yeah. So anyone can reach out to me if they want, if I can help, I will do my best. If I feel like someone else might be able to help them better, I will recommend, them to these people. And also, I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Chosky Foundation.
No.
She is, that word is difficult, but let me just relate to her as an optician, right? But she has a longer name. It's a longer, So she started a foundation where she ensures that people with albinism get access to, to getting their eyes, eyewear and just getting their eyes checked. And so she's located in Aga Khan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but then I think for her, you have to book appointments. There are just specific days she's there. So people with albinism go there and get their eyes checked for free. And, they get classes as well for free.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's kind. There's something you wanted to say earlier on before I cut you short, or did you say it?
And I've forgotten.
It was something.
Oh, it was something to, I was just talking about, I wanted to talk about the whole PDF and just having anyone can reach out to me and I can share it just for them to see, the various places they can collect sunscreen from. And they should know that they should not pay anything. When they go to pick those sunscreens. They're
not exploited.
Yeah, so if anyone asks for money, don't accept that. It's supposed to be for free because they're donated by the government. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice, very nice. Any other words of encouragement? As we take you are a Christian, yeah?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
Do you want to share a verse of encouragement? Ama nimekuweka on the spot. At John 3:16.
Wow. So personally, since I'm a Christian, every day I do my devotion in the morning. I don't know if you have the
YouVersion app.
Not you. I don't use the Daily Bread. They have an app. So you can just do your devotions every day. There's I know YouVersion. I used to use it, but then I found using Daily Bread, the app, really efficient for me. And so they have really nice texts. Have you ever seen the Daily Bread booklet?
No.
Yeah, so you can check that out. It's also a good one. And though I don't go to church every Sunday. Yeah, because before people judge me, when people say they don't go to church, these days Why don't you go to
No,
church?
there's this new trend on TikTok. We listen.
That we don't judge.
Thank you.
So yes, I go to church, but not. I wouldn't say I go every Sunday, but I ensure that I do my devotion. Just pray. Having faith and something to believe in, and just having that connection with God is very important, especially in this world we live in, where there's so much vice, so much wickedness, so much exploitation, so much evil happening. It's good to have a connection with God, and I feel like it grounds you. And every day waking up, just saying a word of prayer really goes a long way.
Yeah.
Like your day, just ask for, guidance, ask for protection, just pray for your loved ones, pray for yourself. It's really important to have that. Yeah.
Okay, girly. So I have my question ready. So this one is, what's a random thing you know a lot about?
Chicken.
Really? How much do you know about chicken?
Since I love chicken, right? So for me I learned so many recipes, making chicken. And it's easy for me to tell if, how when you go to the store to buy chicken, how you can tell this is either, how do you call them? The
Broilers and kenyages.
Not really, the ones that have GMO.
Oh.
Those ones, the ones that get injected by something so that they can become big.
Yes.
And I can tell that. I know growing up, I really love chicken. I feel like it's my comfort food. It's a food I can eat every day. And so I tried my best to learn so many recipes. So for me, when you come over to my place or if you ever need me to cook you chicken, I'll just cook you really good chicken.
Yeah. I'll be spoiled for choice.
Spoiled for choice.
Okay. Can ask you as I try to find one. I have an interesting one here, but I feel like I might already know better.
What is the worst gift you've ever received?
The worst gift
Yeah.
I've ever received.
I hope that person is not going to watch this podcast.
He will listen and not judge. The worst gift. Oof, have I really received the worst? Oh, yes. Someone once gave me their phone. It was the first time I had an iPhone. I was like, oh, nice. 2 days into using that phone, I was like, no wonder nilipatiwa bure. The battery keeps hitting.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm ungrateful, but all I'm saying is I can understand why it was given to me freely. Yes.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And with that said and done, thank you so much, Sharon, for
You're
coming
welcome.
here. Thank you for teaching us a lot, creating awareness. I would highly recommend that you follow her on our social media platforms because I love the videos you keep putting out. I like how you also respond to some people's comments, as ignorant as they look, but you just answer calmly and be like, what, this person doesn't know. So keep at it. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
You're doing an amazing, amazing job. And you are also doing an amazing job by keeping it locked here at A Woman's Journal. We love you. We appreciate you. 2025 ni mwaka wa baraka. Au sivyo? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you so much for keeping us company. I will see you in the next episode of A Woman's Journal.